Hello, welcome to your Friday. Today is the 19th day of February 2021, and it's week 57. I can't believe that. I actually thought it was week 56, but I looked at my YouTubes and I'm like, wow, we're cooking. At any rate, I hope everybody had a fantastic Valentine's Day. It was a little uneventful for me, but a nice day nonetheless. At any rate, let's get started. Last week, I talked about a reset. I had quite a few views, a few comments, and a couple of private messages as always. And for that, I want to say thank you very much. I love looking to see how many views there were and the comments and everything else. So thank you. And I appreciate all the time you take to look, comment, everything. My shout out today is going to go to handicapped people. And I don't know if you've ever actually put yourself in the shoes of someone who might be handicapped. We've talked about basic senses and so forth, but there are so many people with different handicaps that move through life and they don't seem to consider themselves handicapped, which I have the utmost respect for. So many people say that it has been a blessing for them, that they've learned, that other senses have become more aware, yet I like to try and put myself in those shoes and see just how hard things might be. Maybe opening doors, maybe getting around, maybe walking, maybe not seeing. So many different types of handicap, and my shout out goes specifically to them today. If you know somebody, maybe give them a phone call or just tell them that you appreciate them. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I was watching a program last week, and I heard this guy say he insulates himself from whatever he was talking about. I honestly don't recall, and I thought, insulate yourself. That's interesting. So I started thinking about it. I thought, you know what? Life is full of things that we insulate ourselves from or with. You might insulate yourself with good people or maybe bad people. You might insulate yourself with good happenings, things to do, places to go. You might insulate yourself with things. Perhaps there's something that makes you feel better about yourself that you buy in order to make yourself feel better. So I did some searches online about insulating yourself. Well, there's not much about that, but I did happen upon a website called psychcentral.com. I actually think I've used that before, but it is called How to Protect Yourself from Others' Negative Energy. Of course, light bulb goes off in my head. I go, that's it. But if you think about it, insulating ourselves is kind of an interesting way of looking at it. And that's what I'd like to focus on today. The article is kind of funny, but it really does go along with what we've talked about ever since I started this. Positivity. So it gives I think 7 or 8 things that you can do. One of which is keep your own power. I love this. It's basically saying don't let somebody else dictate, control, or get involved in how you feel, do, or act, right? It talks about don't let them steal your joy. How do you like that? Number 2, stay positive. Think positive, be hopeful, be grateful. Only you are responsible for your life, not anyone else. How true is that, right? When you think about it, you might say, he made me feel bad. No, he didn't. He might have said something that struck you wrong and you felt bad, but he didn't make you feel anything, right? Or she, I should say. Ignore the perpetrator, number 3. Now, how do you do that? How do you actually ignore the person? Once you've made this decision, this says, it becomes easy. But how do you actually do it? Remind yourself that you have already decided to ignore this person. So, in essence, if you're going to meet with somebody who is always negative, before you go into that interview, that conversation, that ordeal that you're doing, make up your mind. I'm not going to let this person control my thoughts. I think that's just so important in so many different areas of our life. Give the silent treatment, number 4, okay? I think it's kind of funny because I don't think we typically like to do that. At least I don't. But it is an interesting point nonetheless. Strategy for conserving mental resources that would otherwise be exhausted. So when you give the silent treatment, it's not actually saying, don't say anything or what have you, but try not to contribute to that negativity. Again, strategy for conserving mental resources that would otherwise be exhausted. I love that. I think that's awesome. Because think about what happens when you're in a good mood and you start talking to somebody and you latch on to that. Don't allow it to happen. Give them the silent treatment, right? Number 5, move to a different space. Now, I think they're talking about separate yourself from the room you're in or separate yourself from that person. But it also notes simply move away from their atmosphere. I love this article. It chooses to use some words that we don't typically associate with positivity and negativity. Number 6, look away from the person. That's hard for me because when I'm with you, I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want to be distracted. I want to give you my undivided attention. So for me, this one would be kind of hard. Look away from the person. Pretend they're not there. I don't know how I feel about that one. I might have to try it. But again, it's interesting. Number 7, use imagery. Okay, and they're talking about you imagining yourself, getting away from the negativity and remaining positive. And it says it gets easier with practice. Practice in your mind how you want to see yourself. So perhaps you don't want that person to feel bad about their negativity, but you don't want to engage in it. So picture yourself going in there, smiling, even if they're talking about something negative, and remaining positive. I like that one also. Last one. Give the negative energy back. How many times have we thought about that? The person sends a negative vibe to you, and you decide, I'm not going to deal with this. And it says basically remove the negativity from yourself and place it back on the other person where it belongs. I'm not sure exactly how to do it. Maybe it's a mind thing. Picture yourself letting the negativity flow out of you. See it being released into the atmosphere and flowing back to the source. Whatever that means, I love the idea behind it. Maybe it's not really easy to do that, but I do think if you begin to practice it, it will become a way. And it lastly says, your life is your responsibility. So if we think about insulating ourselves from negativity or insulating ourselves with positivity, it's an amazing thing, isn't it? If you think about this article, again, psychcentral.com, I just became engrossed in it. I love to read, but this article really kind of spoke to me. And again, it is called How to Protect Yourself from Others' Negative Energy. So that's all I've got on the topic today. So when I was a kid, we used to talk about books that were not actually written, but that were funny, okay? So I found a couple of these online. Some of them aren't necessarily made for your Friday videos, okay? But a couple of them are pretty funny. I'd like to share them. The first book, 20 Yards to the Outhouse by Willie Make It, illustrated by Betty Won't. This is probably one of my all-time favorites. Under the Bleachers by Seymour Butts. Or Rusty Bed Springs by I.P. Freely. Oh, I got a couple more here. Where did they go? Oh, I know I got another one. Oh, Waiting in Line for the Bathroom by Ivana Tinkle. Okay, you don't have to laugh at these. They're just something I thought I would share with you, just to keep it on a light note. I do have to get busy on the internet looking for some more funny, stupid jokes. I actually went to Amazon and bought a couple of books, and they're titled Stupidest Jokes Ever, Dumbest Jokes. And they are things, though, that make us laugh. And I think if we can go through life and find ways to make ourselves laugh, it is truly the best medicine. On that note, I hope you have a fantastic Friday, an amazing weekend. a beautiful week next week. As always, and most importantly, God bless you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.